Good evening, traders. This is a recap video for DAX for Monday, December the 3rd. And this in front of us is the updated chart with zones that I have posted before the open. And this here, this is a huge gap up that we had that was based on the news about meeting of American and Chinese president. And as I said in my prep here, this was a news-based move, and that is it caused strong gains on Asian markets and large gap up on US market. And even if it lacks clarity, it is for now bullish, and I expect a short-term bullish move to continue, and that DAX is lagging behind US markets, and that could be a catch-up move. And it was a catch-up move for a bit. As you can see, after this gap up, DAX continued to go higher to this first zone above. Let's just see first, sometimes, as you know, I always plot on my chart pre-market high and pre-market low. This is a trading view software, and it uses, as you can see, for CFDs FXCM quotes. And then they got this here, a spike wrong for CFDs, because clearly we can see on futures chart that the pre-market high was right here. So on futures was on 559, this pre-market high. And observe while we are on this futures chart. I said today on Twitter that it is logical to see test of this zone, which is on our zones chart, is this 420 to 450, and it was a pattern from before. If we can see this gap here, it was basically to this candle. It was like this gap, and it was first testing the top of gap, then the top of gap, then top of gap again, and then it was a test all the way to the bottom of the gap. It was 3 days later, and then we had a gap up again here, and 5 days later this gap was tested also. And now we had this gap, and this gap is tested right now while I'm speaking at 6 p.m. It was tested a bit before, and the logical thing to see is to see the test of this gap. And in the morning, we of course don't know how or when that test could be. It is a logical thing to see. It doesn't have to happen, but it is something that is logical to expect, and it happened, as you can see today. But where was the opportunities? The opportunities was okay, here when you translate the futures values to the CFD values, we get the pre-market high right there, and we had this common move and a repetitive setup. First we get a gap and go into the resistance, and then we have this another setup, which is inability, market is unable to go above pre-market high soon. They just tested this pre-market high and then got rejected. The problem with this setup today, so this was your entry here, is that they tested basically the same spot another 2 times. So you have to be ready, especially when you're trading on a larger time frame zones, that the market will test your entry, maybe more than once. But this here isn't really a large time frame zone. Large time frame zone is here, where there is major resistance zone on 650 to 685, but it still made 2 additional tests of the top of the zone and of the pre-market high. So basically you could then choose when you're here shorting this market. You have a gap and go, huge move, you have inability to go over pre-market high, and you have a price that is already more than plus 2.5%. So it's very, very questionable to see additional upside above all of that, especially when you look at that news which really wasn't so clear. But nevertheless, they hold it pretty well here. As you can see, maybe you see this as an intraday level around 520. They hold it here for quite some time until let's say 1240, 1245. So in all of that time, almost 4 hours, they were holding the price inside, let's say, 40 points. So this trade from here really wasn't so easy to hold and to expect a bigger target. So you could just scout to take 20-30 points from here to this maybe intraday level, or if you're patient to wait for the price to get to another zone. So exiting of this trade could be for a modest target like here, or more patient traders to exit at the next zone, or the super patient traders to expect this, what was logical, to see a test of this zone. But note that it looks now as a trade that it's clear now in hindsight, but sometimes these gaps is filled for a few days later, like we saw here. Let's go back to this futures chart. So for this gap it took 5 days to fill, this gap 3 days, and this now only 1 day, on same day, like the same day when it made. So that was the opportunity here, and it was really the only decent opportunity that we had today. But you really had to be patient, very patient, to get this target here. And of course, with your stop, you are short here, your stop is above this spike. So this, if you are shorting even in the middle of this zone, like on 550, this could be done with only 20 point stop, and from 550 to 450 you got 100 points. So for very patient trader, this could be even a 5-hour trade. But it is really very hard to do. As far as the long opportunities, a first test of this zone and pre-market low was a long opportunity, but note that this is an aggressive area for long. So if you took long here, you would have to really be patient, be careful, and to observe this price movement. And the moment it comes inside this zone, because the zone is basically in the middle of these two better zones, you should really protect yourself. So this long opportunity here would be a break-even trade, a failed idea. And of course, another trade idea would be to go long here on this zone, which I call the bull-bear zone, because bulls really have to defend this. If this gap up is, it is a news-driven move, and I said that before, news-driven moves tend to retrace. So this here isn't a move, this is a gap. And these news kind of moves or gaps tend to retrace, and we already have a warning sign on US markets. I have posted this on Twitter, this chart. This is a 4-hour chart of S&P, and you can see that it has reacted from this resistance. Even better on the futures chart, to observe. On futures chart it is visible, this gap up, and we had this sloping trend line which was tested basically to the point, and this is here a major resistance and major support. Also note that there is a bearish divergence between these two tops, and the warning sign that I was talking about really is on the Russell, because Russell filled its gap. It has filled its gap completely and go under. So Russell gone negative. So basically, in order for US markets to keep on floating, Nasdaq is the strongest of them, they would really need to push Russell above in positive territory and to make this here as a false breakdown. If this could be a false breakdown, then maybe this move would have some legs. Otherwise, this is a warning sign on Russell for US markets. And now we will observe what is going to happen here with this trading idea. I usually don't really trade DAX after 6 p.m. but this here is a long with a stop below the zone. So let's observe, and exit for this trade is going to be here near the next zone and then above, all in with watching what the S&P is going to do, because DAX now is trading with sympathy with the US markets, because RTH session is already over in Germany. Bulls needs to defend this area, and we shall see about this. Is it going to be a good trade or just a break-even? So that is all for me for this video, and tomorrow of course you will get another updated chart with adjusted zones. Take care, trade well, I wish you all the best, and see you tomorrow.